Have you ever wondered what happens when you ignore a Sigma woman? Do you think she'll sit around waiting for your attention? Think again. A Sigma woman is not your typical personality. She's fiercely independent, self-sufficient, and values her inner peace above all else. Unlike others, her confidence doesn't rely on external validation. And if you stop talking to her, the way she responds might shock you. Why is this important? Because understanding the Sigma mindset changes the way we see relationships and personal growth. Let's dive into the 9 things she'll do when you go silent. Number 1, she analyzes the situation. Let's be honest, most people react impulsively when someone stops talking to them. They might send a flurry of messages, overthink every little detail, or even lash out emotionally. But not a Sigma woman. She approaches situations like this with clarity and patience. The very first thing she does is pause and reflect. She doesn't panic or let emotions take over. Instead, she steps back and takes a good, hard look at what's going on. This is where her incredible self-awareness comes into play, and it's a game changer. You see, a Sigma woman understands the value of clarity. She knows that acting out of frustration or fear rarely solves anything. When someone stops talking to her, she doesn't assume the worst right away. Instead, she asks herself some key questions. Did I say or do something that might have caused this silence? Is this person dealing with something on their own? What does this silence reveal about them and about me? By reflecting on the situation rather than reacting impulsively, she gives herself the chance to understand the bigger picture. She knows that rushing to conclusions can lead to unnecessary conflict or misunderstanding. Now let's talk about her emotional strength. While many people might spiral into self-doubt or anxiety when someone goes silent, a Sigma woman stays emotionally grounded. How? By reminding herself of a simple truth. Not everything is about me. This is her superpower. She separates her self-worth from other people's actions. She knows that just because someone has stopped talking doesn't automatically mean she's to blame. Instead of letting insecurity take over, she uses this moment of silence as an opportunity to reflect on the relationship as a whole. Has this person been consistent in their behavior? Does their silence say more about them than it does about her? These are the kinds of questions she asks. One of the Sigma woman's favorite tools for analyzing a situation is journaling. Writing things down helps her process her thoughts clearly and objectively. She might jot down how she's feeling, what she's noticed about the relationship, and what steps she could take next, if any. Another technique she uses is positive self-talk. Instead of saying, "Why is this happening to me?" she reframes her thoughts. She might tell herself, "This silence might not even be about me. Let's take a step back and see what unfolds." These habits help her stay calm and focused, giving her the emotional space to make thoughtful decisions rather than impulsive ones. Here's the thing about a Sigma woman. She knows that jumping to conclusions often creates more problems than it solves. If she assumes the worst without evidence, she risks reacting in a way that she might regret later. Instead, she lets time reveal the truth. This approach not only protects her peace, but also keeps her from wasting energy on unnecessary drama. And let's be real, how often do we regret not reacting right away? Rarely, right? This patience is what makes her response so calculated and effective. So, what's the takeaway here? The Sigma woman's ability to pause and reflect shows us the importance of self-awareness and emotional control. When faced with silence, she doesn't let fear or insecurity drive her actions. Instead, she focuses on understanding the situation first. This not only protects her from unnecessary pain, but also helps her approach the next step with clarity and strength. Now, I want to hear from you. How do you handle moments of silence in a relationship or friendship? Do you take time to reflect, like the Sigma woman does? Share your thoughts in the comments. Stick around, because the next move will show you just how powerful a Sigma woman becomes when she shifts her focus inward. You don't want to miss this. Number 2, maintains her dignity. When it comes to dealing with being ignored, one of the most admirable traits of a Sigma woman is her ability to maintain her dignity. Unlike others who might feel compelled to flood their ex's phone with messages, seeking validation or answers, a Sigma woman stands tall and composed. She recognizes that her worth is not tied to the attention or approval of anyone else. This self-awareness is a powerful tool. It allows her to navigate the complexities of relationships without losing herself in the process. Rather than chasing after someone who has chosen to distance themselves, she takes a step back and reflects on the situation with clarity. She understands that everyone has their own paths and that sometimes people drift apart for reasons beyond her control. Instead of taking it personally, she views this as an opportunity to reinforce her own self-respect. A Sigma woman knows that reaching out repeatedly or begging for attention only diminishes her value and can even come across as desperation. Instead, she chooses to handle the situation with grace. You might find her engaging in activities that uplift her spirit, such as spending time with friends who appreciate her, diving into a new hobby, or focusing on self-care rituals that remind her of her worth. She sets healthy boundaries, knowing that she deserves relationships where she is valued and respected, not just tolerated or ignored. This dignity is rooted in her understanding of her own identity. She embraces the truth that her happiness is not contingent upon someone else's recognition of her. She might channel this energy into her professional life, excelling at her job or pursuing passions that ignite her creativity. She surrounds herself with positivity, seeking out relationships that uplift her rather than deplete her. By choosing to maintain her dignity, a Sigma woman sends a clear message to herself and others. She is not just a passive participant in her relationships. She is an empowered individual who knows her value. As she walks through life with this mindset, she attracts people who recognize her strength and treat her accordingly. So, when faced with silence or neglect, instead of responding with frustration or desperation, she responds with resilience and grace. This approach not only preserves her self-esteem, but also reinforces the respect she deserves from others. After all, a Sigma woman knows that true worth comes from within, and maintaining her dignity is a testament to her independence and self-respect. If this resonates with you, drop a dignity in the comments. Loving these insights? Stay tuned, because the journey of understanding Sigma women continues with even more empowering revelations. Number 3, self-development. Let's dive deep into the third and most powerful move a Sigma woman makes when someone stops talking to her. She accelerates her self-development like never before. You see, while others might spend their time checking their phones every 5 minutes or stalking social media profiles, a true Sigma woman does something remarkably different. She transforms this silence into her loudest motivation. Picture this. It's a Tuesday evening, and instead of overthinking about why someone isn't responding, she's lacing up her running shoes for that evening jog she's been putting off. But it's not just about physical fitness. This is about complete transformation. She turns those quiet hours into golden opportunities. Maybe she finally opens that Coursera course she bookmarked months ago, or perhaps she dusts off that business plan hiding in her desk drawer. A Sigma woman understands that being ignored isn't a dead end. It's a detour leading to something better. She might start learning that new language she's always been interested in, using apps like Duolingo during those moments she would have spent texting. Or maybe she finally starts that YouTube channel, sharing her knowledge and experiences with others. The beauty of this response lies in its productivity. While others waste energy feeling rejected, she's investing that same energy into becoming a better version of herself. She hits the gym with renewed focus, not to make anyone jealous, but because she knows physical strength builds mental resilience. She might enroll in financial literacy courses, understanding that economic independence is true freedom. Every minute someone isn't giving her attention becomes a minute invested in her growth. She transforms her apartment into a mini home office, starts reading those self-improvement books that have been collecting dust, or even learns to code through free online resources. The key here is that a Sigma woman doesn't just do these things half-heartedly. She dives in with full commitment. She creates a schedule, sets measurable goals, and holds herself accountable. Whether it's mastering yoga, learning digital marketing, or starting a side hustle selling handmade jewelry on Etsy, she approaches each new endeavor with determination and focus. And here's the fascinating part. Often, by the time the person who ignored her comes back around, they find someone who has evolved so significantly that she's almost unrecognizable in the best possible way. She's not just busy, she's productive. She's not just active, she's purposeful, and most importantly, she's not waiting for anyone's approval or attention to become the person she's meant to be. This is why Sigma women often say that being ignored was the best thing that ever happened to them. It became the catalyst for their most significant personal growth. Type stronger if you've experienced this transformation. Number 4. She sets boundaries. Let's face it, setting boundaries is one of the hardest things to do in any relationship, but for a Sigma woman, it's non-negotiable. She knows her worth, and if someone's silence feels manipulative, dismissive, or disrespectful, she won't hesitate to draw the line. A boundary is not just a wall to keep people out. It's a way of protecting your peace, your energy, and your self-respect. A Sigma woman understands this better than anyone. She knows that boundaries aren't about being cold or cutting people off for no reason. They're about saying, I respect myself enough to not let someone's behavior disrupt my inner peace. And here's the key. She sets boundaries not out of anger, but out of love for herself. When someone stops talking to a Sigma woman, she doesn't immediately jump to repair the relationship. Why? Because she understands that silence can sometimes be a form of manipulation. Think about it. Some people use silence as a way to control others, making them feel anxious, desperate, or even guilty. But a Sigma woman, she doesn't fall for that game. She recognizes when silence crosses the line from space-giving to boundary breaking, and she takes action to protect herself. One of the most empowering things a Sigma woman does when faced with disrespect is saying no. She says no to chasing after people who don't value her. She says no to engaging in behavior that makes her feel small or disrespected. And she says no to giving her energy to people who don't reciprocate. Think about the strength it takes to do that. Most people are afraid of setting boundaries because they don't want to be seen as rude or difficult. But a Sigma woman knows that her peace is worth more than someone else's fleeting approval. Sometimes setting boundaries means walking away entirely, and a Sigma woman is not afraid to do just that. She knows that if someone's silence becomes toxic or harmful, the healthiest thing she can do is distance herself. But here's what's amazing. When she walks away, she doesn't do it with bitterness or drama. She does it with grace and confidence, knowing that she's prioritizing her mental and emotional well-being. This strength to let go without guilt is what truly sets her apart. So, why do Sigma women set boundaries so effortlessly? Because they know that loving yourself sometimes means saying no to others. Boundaries are an act of self-care. They say to the world, I value myself too much to tolerate less than I deserve. By setting boundaries, she's not pushing people away. She's inviting the right people to step up and meet her at her level. Setting boundaries isn't about being harsh or uncaring. It's about knowing your value and protecting your peace. A Sigma woman teaches us that it's okay to say no, to walk away, and to demand respect. Stay with me, because the next point is all about how a Sigma woman remains completely unbothered, no matter what life throws at her. Number 5. She stays unbothered. Let's talk about one of the most iconic traits of a Sigma woman, her ability to stay completely unbothered. While most people would feel rattled, confused, or even hurt by silence, a Sigma woman, she treats it like just another ordinary day. Here's the thing, she doesn't let anyone's behavior disturb her peace. And that, my friends, is what leaves people scratching their heads, wondering, why isn't she chasing me? Well, that's exactly the point. You see, a Sigma woman understands one powerful truth. No one else is responsible for her happiness. Her peace comes from within, not from whether someone talks to her or ignores her. When silence comes her way, she doesn't spiral into overthinking or questioning her worth. Instead, she views it for what it is, just a moment of quiet. To her, silence isn't rejection, it's an opportunity to enjoy her own company. Here's why staying unbothered is so powerful. It flips the script. Most people expect a reaction. They expect you to chase them, question them, or try to fix the situation. But when a Sigma woman doesn't react, it sends a strong message. I'm perfectly fine without you. And you know what? That silence speaks louder than words. It shows that she values her peace over unnecessary drama. You might be wondering, how does she manage to stay so calm when someone's actions could easily trigger frustration or doubt? The answer lies in her mindset. A Sigma woman practices emotional discipline. Instead of letting her emotions control her, she chooses where to focus her energy. She might meditate, journal, or simply remind herself that other people's actions are not her responsibility. By controlling her reactions, she controls the situation, and most importantly, she controls her happiness. Now here's the kicker. Her calmness doesn't just benefit her, it often leaves others in awe or even discomfort. When people realize that their silence hasn't disrupted her, they start questioning their own actions. You know the phrase, silence is golden. For a Sigma woman, it truly is. By staying unbothered, she turns the tables and holds the emotional upper hand, without ever having to say a word. In today's fast-paced world, where everyone is constantly reacting to something, staying calm is like having a superpower. And a Sigma woman, she has mastered it. When life throws silence, drama, or negativity her way, she doesn't match the chaos. Instead, she remains in control of her emotions, her actions, and her peace. So, let me ask you, have you ever stayed calm when someone tried to rattle you? Maybe it was a situation at work, in a relationship, or even with friends. How did you keep your peace? Share your story in the comments below. It might inspire someone else who's struggling to stay unbothered in a noisy world. And don't go anywhere. Up next, I'll show you how a Sigma woman uses silence as fuel to grow stronger. You're going to love this one. Number 6, embraces solitude. Let's talk about one of the most powerful traits of a Sigma woman, her ability to embrace and thrive in solitude. When someone stops talking to her, she doesn't frantically seek replacement connections or drown herself in social media. Instead, she welcomes the quiet moments like an old friend. For a Sigma woman, solitude isn't just the absence of others, it's the presence of herself in her purest form. She understands that being alone doesn't mean being lonely. It means having the freedom to hear her own thoughts clearly, without the noise of others' opinions or expectations. During these moments, you might find her creating her perfect morning routine, waking up early, enjoying her coffee in peaceful silence, journaling her thoughts, or practicing meditation. She turns her home into her sanctuary, perhaps rearranging her space to reflect her inner peace, creating a cozy reading nook by the window, or setting up a small indoor garden that brings her joy. A Sigma woman uses this solitude to explore her own interests without compromise, whether it's painting at midnight, dancing alone in her living room, or taking herself on dates to art galleries and cafes. She doesn't need someone else's company to enjoy a fancy dinner or watch a movie she loves. This quality time with herself becomes her power source, helping her understand her own needs, desires, and boundaries better. She might spend an entire weekend digital detoxing, taking long baths, reading books she's been meaning to finish, or simply sitting in her backyard watching the sunset. The beauty of this solitude is that it teaches her self-sufficiency, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. She learns that the most important conversations are often the ones she has with herself. During these solo periods, she reflects on her life goals, her values, and her personal growth journey. She might start a gratitude journal, practice self-care rituals, or simply enjoy the peace of not having to explain herself to anyone. This comfort with solitude becomes her superpower. While others fear being alone, she sees it as an opportunity for self-discovery and renewal. She knows that this time alone isn't a punishment, but a gift that allows her to return to her social interactions as a more complete and centered person. And here's the interesting part. The more comfortable she becomes with solitude, the more authentic her connections with others become. She no longer seeks relationships out of fear or loneliness, but chooses to connect with others from a place of wholeness and genuine desire for companionship. Number 7. She doesn't chase, she replaces. A vibrant scene showing a confident woman laughing with new friends at a networking event, her energy glowing. The camera pans to show her exploring new hobbies and opportunities with a sense of purpose. Background music is upbeat and inspiring. Here's a truth bomb for you. A Sigma woman doesn't chase after anyone who chooses to walk away or goes silent. That's just not her style. Instead of begging for attention or trying to fix the situation, she takes a different, more empowering path. When you stop talking to her, she's not sitting around wondering how to win you back. Nope, she's already looking for something or someone better to fill that space in her life. Because here's the thing, her value isn't tied to any one person, and she knows it. Most people fall into the trap of chasing after what's no longer serving them. It's a knee-jerk reaction to rejection or silence, but not a Sigma woman. She understands that chasing someone who's distant is a waste of her time and energy. Here's why she doesn't chase. She respects herself too much. Chasing someone who's not interested or communicative would mean lowering her standards, and that's something she'll never do. She values her energy. A Sigma woman would rather pour her time and effort into something productive than waste it trying to convince someone of her worth. She knows her worth. She doesn't need anyone to validate her, and she certainly doesn't need to beg for attention. Here's where it gets interesting. Instead of chasing, a Sigma woman replaces. She sees silence or rejection as an opportunity to upgrade her life. Maybe she starts meeting new people who bring fresh energy into her world. Maybe she picks up a new hobby, signs up for a class, or even launches a new project. Whatever it is, she doesn't just fill the gap, she levels up. For her, it's not about replacing someone out of spite. It's about realizing that when one door closes, another door opens. She moves forward without looking back. A Sigma woman lives by an upgrade mindset. If something or someone isn't working out, she doesn't lower her standards or cling to the past. Instead, she finds something better. And remember, she doesn't settle. She won't replace someone with just anyone. She surrounds herself with people and activities that align with her values and aspirations. This mindset is what keeps her moving forward. It's not about filling a void. It's about improving her life and building a stronger foundation for herself. The reason she's able to replace so effortlessly is that her value comes from within. She knows that her worth isn't dependent on someone else's attention or approval. This inner strength allows her to walk away from what doesn't serve her and embrace what does. And let's be real, this is why she's so magnetic. When you stop chasing, you naturally attract better opportunities and people into your life. So, what's the takeaway here? It's simple. Don't chase after what's no longer in your life. Instead, focus on replacing it with something better, whether that's a new connection, a new hobby, or a new goal. Now let me ask you, have you ever replaced a toxic situation or person with something amazing? How did it change your life? Share your story in the comments. I'm sure someone watching could use the inspiration. Number 8. She keeps things mysterious. Let's talk about one of the most captivating traits of a Sigma woman, her air of mystery. When you stop talking to her, she doesn't react by oversharing, venting, or trying to explain herself. Instead, she pulls back, becoming even more enigmatic. And trust me, this makes her irresistibly intriguing. You can't help but wonder, what is she thinking? What is she doing? That's exactly what she wants you to think. Why is mystery so powerful? Because it leaves people wanting more. In a world where everyone is quick to share every thought and detail of their lives, a Sigma woman stands out by keeping things to herself. When you stop talking to her, she doesn't rush to fill the silence or explain her side. Instead, she steps back and lets the unknown do the talking. This creates a magnetic pull. Suddenly, the other person is left wondering, what is she thinking? Why isn't she reaching out? Here's the truth. People are naturally drawn to what they can't fully understand or predict. By embracing mystery, a Sigma woman maintains control of the situation while keeping others curious. One of the reasons a Sigma woman is so fascinating is that she never reveals everything about herself. She might share glimpses of her thoughts, feelings, or plans, but she always keeps something private. This isn't about being secretive or manipulative, it's about preserving her sense of self. By keeping parts of her life under wraps, she ensures that no one has full access to her inner world unless she chooses to let them in. And here's the best part. This mystery makes her presence unforgettable. Even when she's not around, people can't stop thinking about her. You know what's more intriguing than a witty comeback or a long explanation? Silence. A Sigma woman knows this, and she uses it to her advantage. When someone stops talking to her, she doesn't flood them with messages or demand answers. Instead, she lets the silence hang in the air. This lack of response speaks volumes. It says, "I'm not desperate for your attention. I value my time too much to chase after you. I'm perfectly fine on my own." Her calm detachment leaves others second-guessing their actions, wondering what she's thinking and why she hasn't reacted. In a way, her silence is louder than words. It's a declaration of her independence and self-worth. Here's the thing about mystery. It fuels curiosity. A Sigma woman knows this, so she doesn't post every detail of her life online or share her every thought in conversations. Instead, she focuses on living a fulfilling life, quietly and confidently. Her actions hint at her growth and success, but she never feels the need to explain or boast. This subtlety makes people want to know more, but they'll only ever know what she chooses to share. So, what's the secret here? Mystery isn't about hiding who you are, it's about owning who you are. By keeping certain parts of her life private, a Sigma woman protects her peace and builds an aura of confidence that others find magnetic. She shows us that you don't have to explain yourself to anyone. Sometimes, the less you reveal, the more powerful you become. Number 9. She lets go without drama. Letting go. It's one of the hardest things to do in life, especially when emotions are involved. But for a Sigma woman, it's not just a choice, it's a way of life. Unlike others who might create a scene or demand endless closure, she knows when it's time to walk away and does so with quiet strength and grace. This ability to let go without drama is what truly sets her apart. It's not about indifference, it's about self-respect and knowing that not everything or everyone deserves her energy. A Sigma woman understands that holding on to situations or people who no longer serve her only drains her energy. She knows that clinging to the past, whether it's a relationship, friendship, or even a missed opportunity, doesn't bring happiness or growth. Instead of engaging in heated arguments or trying to force explanations, she chooses to preserve her peace. Why? Because she values her emotional well-being above all else. For her, letting go isn't a sign of weakness, it's an act of courage. Here's something many people don't realize. Closure doesn't always come from the other person. Sometimes you have to create it for yourself. A Sigma woman knows this better than anyone. She doesn't waste time waiting for apologies or explanations that may never come. Instead, she focuses on healing from within. Whether it's through journaling, meditation, or simply spending time alone, she finds her own sense of closure. This inner strength allows her to move on gracefully, without bitterness or regret. It's a powerful reminder that we are responsible for our own peace. One of the most admirable things about a Sigma woman is her ability to leave with dignity. Even when emotions run high, she chooses not to engage in unnecessary conflict or drama. Instead of yelling, blaming, or trying to prove her point, she might say something simple yet profound, like, "I respect your decision and I wish you well." Then she quietly steps away. This response often surprises people because it's so rare in a world where arguments and emotional outbursts are the norm. But that's exactly what makes her so powerful. She stays in control of herself no matter what. For a Sigma woman, letting go isn't just about leaving something behind. It's about creating space for something better. She sees every ending as a new beginning, a chance to grow and improve her life. She asks herself, what have I learned from this experience? How can I use this to become stronger and wiser? What's next for me? By shifting her focus from what she's lost to what she can gain, she turns every setback into an opportunity for growth. Some might mistake her quiet goodbyes for indifference, but that couldn't be further from the truth. A Sigma woman feels deeply. She just doesn't let those feelings consume her or control her actions. Her ability to let go without drama shows her strength and emotional maturity. It's a silent declaration that she values her peace over prolonged conflict or unresolved issues. So, let me ask you, have you mastered the art of letting go without drama? Maybe you walked away from a toxic friendship, a draining relationship, or even a job that no longer fulfilled you. How did it feel to choose peace over conflict? Share your story in the comments below. You never know who might need to hear it today. So what's the biggest insight here? A Sigma woman doesn't just survive neglect. She uses it to grow stronger, wiser, and more independent. If you're a Sigma woman watching this, let this remind you of your strength. And if you know one, understand that silence only fuels her power. Which of these 9 moves resonated with you the most? Share your thoughts below. I love hearing your perspectives. And hey, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon for more insights on relationship dynamics and personal growth. Until next time, remember, silence isn't the end for a Sigma. It's the start of something amazing.